Hello friends, let's discuss current affairs. In today's video talk, we'll discuss FDI and current affairs. Now, like in the last couple of videos, the last couple of weeks, we discussed gold. Why in the first video we discussed why our ancients chose gold, and then last week we discussed why people invest in gold. Now we have got pretty good feedback on that. So wherever we get a chance, whenever we would get a chance, or wherever we would get a chance, we will try to bring in a particular topic and discuss that for about 10 to 15 minutes. Now, in this session, as promised in the previous session, I'll discuss FDI, foreign direct investment. Okay, so we will just look at what's the definition of FDI, what is FDI, what are the prohibitions, where is it allowed, and in the sectors it is allowed, what has been the FDI over the last few years, especially since 2000 and in the last 9 months as well. Let's look at FDI's definition. Now, foreign direct investment, my friends, is a capital that is brought in by a foreign company. Capital that is brought in by a foreign company to invest in the domestic economy, either through a joint venture, or through a wholly owned subsidiary. So these are two important things. It's investment by a foreign company in the domestic economy, in India's economy. Now this is applicable to all countries, but let's focus on our country. Foreign direct investment is investment in our country, in our economy by a foreign company, either through a joint venture or through a wholly owned subsidiary. Now, before I discuss this, let me bring in something extra. This is about prohibitions. Where is it not allowed? Now, so the government of India welcomes foreign investment in different sectors, but in a few sectors, it's not allowed. The government of India does not allow any sort of foreign investment in certain sectors. Like, for example, chit fund business, lottery business. These are two major sectors which are everyday sectors. Now, a lot of people buy lotteries in states of Kerala, in Northeast, especially. If you look at Sikkim as well, people buy lotteries and all. But in India, a foreign company cannot operate a lottery business. Like, you don't have an American jackpot or a European lotto in India. That's because the government of India does not allow foreign companies like these to set up their ventures in India. Now, if you look at chit fund business, no foreign company can operate a chit fund business in India. Now, while there are prohibitions, but in a lot of sectors, the government of India welcomes foreign investment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in the sectors where the government of India allows foreign investment, the government of India puts different kinds of conditions. Before I discuss the conditions, look at it. How does the money come into India by through investment by a foreign company? The foreign company is allowed to bring the entire capital on its own, to set up a venture on its own, complete venture on its own, or through a joint venture. Now, for us to understand this particular aspect, we would need to know certain sectors where joint ventures are allowed, and where foreign companies can set up an entire business on their own, that is through a wholly owned subsidiary in India. Like, for example, if you look at, I mentioned airlines here. In airlines, 49% FDI is allowed. 49%, which effectively means that the maximum that a foreign company can invest in India, in an airline business in India, is 49% of the total capital. Now, let me give you an example. There is this company called Vistara. Okay. Now, Vistara, my friends, is a joint venture between the Tata Group and Singapore Airlines. Tata Group and Singapore Airlines. Now, this being a JV, joint venture between Tata Group and Singapore Airlines, you need to appreciate one thing here, that the maximum that Singapore Airlines can invest in India in this business is 49%. So, only up to 49% of the capital can be brought in by Singapore Airlines. The rest of the capital has to be brought in by resident Indians or resident Indian companies. In this case, the Tata Group has brought in that money. this is a good example, a fairly good one. If you look at, for example, something like another place where you could look at joint ventures, we could look at insurance businesses. Okay, now what is the FDI allowed? 74%. So if you look at ICICI Prudential Life Insurance Company, ICICI is an Indian financial services company, whereas Prudential is an American company. There is a British one as well. Now this company, is the foreign partner in ICICI Prudential is allowed to invest up to 74% of the total capital. Got it? The rest has to be brought in by Indians. Now, while these are joint ventures because, they need to have an Indian investor or a group of investors, of course. There are certain businesses where the government of India says you can bring in the entire capital on your own. You wouldn't need a domestic investor. You wouldn't need to bother too much about, fulfilling the requirement of having a resident Indian investor. So, guys, the government of India tells the foreign companies, you can bring in the entire money on your own, set up a venture in India, all on your own. So, if you look at telecom, 100% FDI is allowed here. In telecom, 100% FDI is allowed, which effectively means that a foreign telecom company can come to India and set up an entire business on its own. It wouldn't need an Indian partner. So, it can build a wholly owned subsidiary in India. That's what it means. Okay, let me give you another example. In wholly owned subsidiary, if you look at wholesale trading is a good example. Now, a foreign company can set up an entire business on its own in this particular lane. Hey, wholesale trading is more to do with business to business, B2B. Okay, there is rarely B2C here. So it's business to business, business to business. In that wholesale trading venture, sector, the entire capital can be brought in by a foreign company. A good example is Metro. Metro is a German company. It can set up an entire business on its own. But for your information, Metro last year was purchased by Reliance Retail. Okay, so it no longer is, it's no longer a foreign company that you're looking at. When you say Metro, it's actually an Indian company. Okay, I'm talking of Reliance Retail has taken over the operations of Metro, Indian operations of Metro. Okay, so, let me give you one more example. You have single brand retail, which effectively means that a foreign company, if it manufactures more than one brand, is not allowed to sell it, not allowed to sell all those brands in one store. So, for example, there is this company called, X, which manufactures A, B, and C shoe brands. Okay, the government of India would not allow these companies, this company X, to sell all the three brands in one store. So the government says for each brand, for every single brand, you would need to own a separate store. So you would have a A branded store, B branded store, and a C branded store. That's what it is. Now, a good example here would be Nike. You are all familiar with Nike. Yeah, Nike owns a lot of brands like Golf Pro, Jordan. The best brand you should know is, or rather you would be familiar with, is Converse. So Converse is a brand owned by Nike, but you always find separate stores. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason behind that is the rule that if a company that manufactures more than one brand, it has to be a manufacturing unit. If it manufactures more than one brand, it cannot sell all of its brands in one store. For each brand, it would need a separate store. Okay, the reasoning behind this is that it doubles in, employment potential. So you have one store here. Okay, we sell, let's say, A brand here. For B brand, you would need a separate store. So whatever goes into this, will also go there. The wood, the computer, the employees, the number of two employees here, two employees there, the computer here, the computer there, the printer here, the printer there, tube lights here, tube lights there, ACs here, ACs there. So you're effectively doubling the the demand for local stuff, which also generates business for local businesses. Plus, the government gets taxes through extra measures like, so you have establishment costs, basically establishment taxes and everything. Plus the fact that when you provide employment here, two people there, you are employing 4 people instead of 2 people in one store. So if both products A and B were sold in one store, maybe the store would have had only 2 employees. Now there are 2 different stores, so each store has 2 employees. So I'm just looking at a smaller scale, but think about it having a huge impact across the economy. Okay. Now, how much FDI has come to India? For calculation purpose, there is the government of India calculates FDI slightly different. I'll not go into that. This is too technical stuff, basically. Okay. But I'll bring to you some table, basically. Okay. Look at this. These are the top 5 countries which have invested in India over the years. Last, you look at this. Now, I'll use the red pen here. Okay. This is, you see this here, April 2023 to December 2023. This is Government of India data, not our data, absolutely not my data. So this data is directly taken from the Ministry of, Commerce and Industry. You would find that the ranks here, Mauritius, Singapore, United States, Netherlands, and of course, Japan in the 5th place, have been the top 5 investors for a long time. But please understand, this ranking is not based on these numbers. It's based on these numbers here. Okay. Now, this is the investment that Mauritius did in India up to about a little over $7 billion in the first 9 months of the last financial year. Now, but over the last 23 years, Mauritius has invested nearly $170 billion in India. Okay. You may wonder, hey, Mauritius is such a small island in the Indian Ocean. How is it that it's able to invest so much in India? Maybe we could discuss that next class. Just it would take about 5-7 minutes. No, it's less than 5 minutes actually. Okay. So you say this now. Mauritius has been the single biggest investor in India for a long time now, friends. 26% of all investment in India, FDI investment, has come from Mauritius. Okay. So the top 5 investors, and this is all authentic data, 100% authentic data. Okay. Things haven't been really great in the last couple of years because post-COVID recovery has not been very even across the world, and even within the economy itself, it has not been even. Okay. But things are still good, pretty good as far as India is concerned. Let's look at, now while these are top 5 countries, let's look at top 5 sectors that have attracted FDI over the years. The biggest sector has been the services sector, which includes financial as well as non-financial, banking and all that, plus IT and all that stuff, insurance, IT and all that. See this, last 9 months, it attracted a little over $5 billion, but ladies and gentlemen, in 23 years, it has attracted more than $108 billion. Okay, so 16% of foreign investment has gone into the services sector. So you look at computer hardware, software, trading. Trading is buying and selling. This includes retail as well as wholesale. Telecommunications, which includes all cellular services. Earlier it was radio paging. Nowadays radio paging isn't there. Basic telephone services, landline service, which is more or less not there. Yeah, automobile. You have car companies like Hyundai, like Suzuki, like, Volkswagen, all they have, all of these have invested in India. Okay. So, I mean, money has been coming into India for a long time now. So, we are among the most attractive for, markets for foreign investment across the world. You have to look at the size, you have to look at the general population in terms of labor availability, which also means that a higher labor availability would mean that the wages are low. And we have more or less a skilled population, not exactly everywhere skilled, but yes, trainable population. Now, one more thing you have to understand that often people say Indians aren't skilled. Look, different people are skilled in different things. A farmer is skilled, but in farming. So it's, it's very easy to dismiss that Indians aren't skilled. People are skilled, but in their chosen field. Okay, it will not really relate to services sector, or the farmer is is a primary sector guy, is not basically a business person to buy sell stuff, isn't it? So things will change over a long period of time, but we are getting there, slow but sure. Yeah. So I think that's about FDI, my friends. That should help you understand a few things. You can always share feedback with us. You could send an email, or you could just leave a comment below the YouTube video. You could send an email via the Telegram group. You could send message a Telegram group, or you can simply email info@time4education.com. info@time4education.com. So our usual current affairs now. The Ernst & Young, EY, Ernst & Young World Entrepreneur of the Year 2024 is, this is Velayan Subbaya. This is Velayan Subbaya. Who is Velayan Subbaya? Ladies and gentlemen, Velayan Subbaya is, okay, let me change the pen, okay, is, CEO or MD of Cholamandalam Finance and Investment Company. Cholamandalam Finance and Investment Company. Okay. He is also the executive vice chairperson of Tube Investments of India. TI, it's called TI. Tube Investments. So he has changed the business trajectory. In fact, the business, especially this particular business, has been doing exceptionally well. Okay. Recognizing his contribution to the growths of the two companies, basically, he has been chosen as the Entrepreneur of the Year by E&Y. Now, let me tell you something here. Falguni Nair is the founder CEO of Naika. Roshni Nadar Malhotra, this is hyphenated. She was born Nadar. Malhotra is the surname she took after marriage. Okay, let's look at, she is the chairperson of HCL Group, Hindustan Computers Limited. Bhavish Agarwal, Ola's founder, co-founder and CEO. Nikhil Kamath, founder, CEO of Zerodha. Zerodha is a stock broking firm, isn't it? Also an AMC, asset management company, which is like what? Mutual fund company. Okay, I guess that's it. The 2024 European parliamentary election, parliament election took place in the 27 nations during the second week of June 2024. It was held for, now there is this thing about the number here. Is it 705 or 720? Elections were held for 705, but after the elections, 720, this is after elections. After elections, 720 seats would come. Okay, 720. One more thing. The European Parliament is one of the, I think, 7 or 9 bodies, 9, I think, important bodies of the European Union. We have European Commission, European Central Bank. Similarly, you have the European Parliament. Okay, and now it has, as of today, what is it, 705 or 7, let's make it 720, no harm, because June, we are in June. Next month, at the end of this, by the end of this month, you will have 720, members of European Parliament. That's a word they use. Yeah, they call these elected members of European Parliament, MEP. Now, these guys come from 27 countries, and the number of each of these countries is given, allocated members, constituencies, depending on the population, the size, area and all. So, Germany has the highest. 96 members come from Germany. 96 MEPs come from Germany. Okay. So after, you can say of 720, 96 come from Germany, highest. Now, one more thing. Who is, where is the head office of European Parliament? 2 places. One is in Strasbourg. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Strasbourg, which is in France. The other is in Brussels, which, as you know, is also the head of the European Union. It's a seat of the European Union. So Strasbourg in France, Brussels in Belgium are hosts to the European Parliament. Okay, I guess that's about it. By the way, just one more thing here, since I learned this thing as well. While the elections are held for 720 MEPs, members of parliament, okay, the maximum allowed is 751. 751 seats are allowed, in the European Parliament, but no elections are held for all the 751 seats. Okay, let's go from here. Prem Singh Tamang has been re-elected the Chief Minister of Sikkim. Okay, is Sikkim Chief Minister. Meghalaya, it is Conrad Sangma. Mizoram, Lalduhoma. This, the Mizo people, I think they use only one name, no surname here. So, Lalduhoma. Arunachal Pradesh, Pema Khandu. This guy also has been re-elected. Pema Khandu. Tripura, Dr. Manik Saha. Doctor, he is a medical doctor. So, Manik Saha. Dr. Manik Saha. Okay, I guess it's a fairly simple question, my friends. Let's clear this. Who has won the men's singles title at the French Open 2024, tennis championship? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Carlos Alcaraz. Carlos Alcaraz belongs to Spain. He belongs to Spain and he defeated, Alexander Zverev. Alexander was the runner-up in this final and he belongs to, I think, Germany. He belongs to Germany. Okay, yeah. This is men's singles. What about women's singles? Since it's not mentioned, but what's the harm in learning? The winner of the women's singles title was Iga Swiatek. Iga Swiatek is from Poland. She's from Poland. She beat Jasmine Paolini of Italy. So, Iga beat Jasmine in the women's singles final. Fair? I guess. We got some extra stuff there. As of June 11, 2024, which UN body has, passed a resolution calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. Now, the UN Security Council has done that, but while the UN has 6 organs, 5 are listed here, okay? 5 are listed here, 6 organs, you can say 5 plus secretariat, it's not mentioned. So, the UN has 6 principal organs. 5 are mentioned here. This is the 6th one, Secretariat, which is headed by the UN Secretary General. Okay. So, let me clear this. Of all these bodies, the only body whose resolutions are binding on its members is the Security Council. So, the resolutions of the Security Council are binding on its members. The UN has, if I'm not wrong, 193 members. It has 193 members. So, these resolutions of the UN Security Council are binding on all 193 members. It has 5 permanent members, 10 non-permanent members. Today, the non-permanent Asian members are Japan and South Korea. So, there are 2 Asian members of the, 10 among the 10 non-permanent members of the UN Security Council, Japan and South Korea. I keep track of all these things. See, it's good to know this. These guys, see, when you're there in the UN Security Council, you have a certain power. You can actually bring in certain resolutions. You want to change the world for good or for bad, you can bring them in. Okay? You have the power to do that. Who is the UN Security what is that? Who is the UN Secretary General? Antonio Guterres, which is Portuguese, which is a Portuguese name. He is from Portugal. He's from Portugal. So you can learn this. Some extra stuff. There's no harm in learning some extra things, isn't it? So what's the point of learning only the answer when you can learn a little more about the choices as well? Under the 17th installment of the PM Kisan scheme, the central government released what? About 20,000 crore to 9.3 crore farmers. See, the PM Kisan scheme is Kisan Samman Nidhi. You can say Sanman also, no harm. It's, Kisan Samman Nidhi. The basic agenda behind this scheme is to generate a minimum income support. Minimum income support. Remember, my friends, this is a minimum income support scheme. Okay, minimum income support scheme. That's it, nothing else. You can learn like this. Minimum income support scheme. Now, one more thing, my friends, is this. That the government last year gave away 75,000 crore to nearly 12 crore farmers. 75,000 crore was transferred through 3 installments of, okay, I think this is, it's just hung actually, okay. So, annual is 6,000 rupees, okay, let's make it, here it's 9.3 crore, but it's actually 12 crore farmers. So, 6,000 rupees per annum to 12 crore farmers, okay. Last year, the budget was 75,000 crore. Not the budget. The budget was 70,000. It came to 75,000 crore in actual, transfers. So, this is directly transferred to a farmer's bank account. Who is eligible? That's a good point, isn't it? Who is eligible? Anyone who is a landowner. Remember, people who are tenants, who are sharecroppers, not allowed. Landowners, but they should not own more than 2 hectares. 2 hectares of land. Okay. So, these are small and marginal farmers. Remember, small and marginal farmers. So, a landowner who has ownership of not more than 2 hectares of land is eligible for this minimum income support scheme, 6,000, where 6,000 rupees is dispensed. Okay. Fair. Let's go. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also holds the portfolio of all of them. In fact, almost all prime ministers in India's history has held this portfolio. So, it's not just PM Modi, everyone. Dr. Singh before him, Dr. Singh before him, Dr. Singh, there was there is Atal Bihari Vajpayee, PM Vajpayee. Before him, there was this Indra Kumar Gujral, Deve Gowda, all these prime ministers, everyone has held these portfolios. Okay, so there's fairly little here to discuss. Find the incorrect match. Ministries, the new ministries, and of course, the guys who run the shows here. Civil Aviation, Kenjarapu Ram Mohan Naidu is a Telugu Desam member, Telugu Desam Party MP. He's, I think, one of the youngest guys here. He's about 35 years old. And he's a new civil aviation minister. And look at this, Annapurna. This is the spelling. Anna, not Anna. It's Annapurna Devi. And she replaced Smriti Irani, who was there earlier. And see, these 2 ministries, you see, both are headed by Jagat Prakash Nadda. What's the name? Jagat Prakash Nadda replaced in both the ministries, Mansukh Mandavia. Mansukh Mandavia is a previous minister, heading these two ministries. In the case of civil aviation, it was headed by Jyotir Aditya Scindia. So it also helps to learn who was there in the past, okay, immediate past, if not before that. So what is this incorrect match here? The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change is headed by Bhupinder Yadav. What's the name? Bhupinder Yadav. Bhupinder Yadav. So that's something. Because Jual Oram heads Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Earlier also he headed the same ministry. Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's it. Let's clear this, ladies and gentlemen. The next chief of the Indian Army is, Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi. The heads of the Indian Army, he is going to succeed. He is going to succeed General Manoj Pandey. General Manoj Pandey. Remember this. He is going to succeed General Manoj Pandey on June 30th. June 30th, at the end of this month. Now, who is the chief of the defense staff? CDS. The chief of the defense staff is General Anil Chauhan. Anil Chauhan. This is CDS. Then we have air staff. Chief of the air staff. Chief of the air staff is Vivek. Oh, sorry. I think it's just stuck. Never mind. Sometimes it happens. All these things keep happening. So, chief of the, I guess, never mind. We'll just skip it here. Chief of the air staff is Vivek Ram Chaudhary. Vivek Ram Chaudhary. So, yeah, it's working now. Vivek Ram Chaudhary. And what about the chief of the naval staff? Dinesh Tripathi. Admiral Dinesh Tripathi. Admiral Dinesh Tripathi. Okay. Dinesh Tripathi. That is the chief of the Indian naval staff. Machines get stuck all the time. Machines stop working. Machines go bad. Technology is like that. Just like humans. Which bank's central board has recently approved a long-term fundraising plan, what? Up to $3 billion, to via debt, that's State Bank of India. How is it that these banks are able to raise so much money? Because the State Bank of India enjoys the highest possible rating. It would not default, that kind of thing basically, okay. So, when, a higher ranked bank, higher rank means creditworthiness, a bank with a higher credit rating or a company with a higher credit rating raises money, it also pays low rates of interest because it has no risk or pretty low risk associated with its repayment and managing finances thing. Remember one thing, my friends, the higher the credit rating, the lower the rate of interest. Now, in the case of State Bank of India, yes, $3 billion is going to raise through debt. Now, it's going to raise, let's say, at 3%. I'm just giving an example. It would lend that money. It would lend to that money to corporates at, let's say, 8%. It would lend the personal loans anywhere between 11 to 15% to people like us. Okay, so it's going to make money on all these things. So, it raises at low rates of interest, but charges higher rates of interest from all of us. Okay. Which country will host the 2025 FIH, which is the International Hockey Federation, Hockey Men's Junior World Cup? India is going to host this next year. But what about the 2026 FIH Men's World Cup? Men's World Cup. Remember, this is not the junior one, Men's World Cup. It will be hosted by Belgium. So, some extra stuff for you guys. Belgium and Netherlands. Belgium and Netherlands. Okay. So, Belgium and they are mentioned here. So, you can, in fact, these are the hosts. Okay. Yeah. Which Indian port has secured a place, 18th place in the World Container Port Performance? Well, it is the Visakhapatnam, one of India's 12 major ports. India has major ports. See, this is just an outline. It's not how India looks. Okay. See, this is Kandla. This is Kandla. This is Deen Dayal Port. Deen Dayal Port. Kandla in Gujarat. Okay. In Mumbai, there are two ports. One is Jawaharlal Nehru Port. The other is Mumbai Port Trust. Mumbai Port Trust. Then in Goa, is it mentioned here? It's not mentioned. In Goa, there is Marmugao. Goa. Okay. Then in South Karnataka, New Mangalore. Kochi port. Kochi is here in Kerala. Kochi or Cochin. Previously it was called Cochin. Now it's still called Cochin by many people. So the new name is Kochi anyway. Okay. You have this port here called V.O. Chidambaranar. Which is a port in the place called Tootukkudi. Tootukkudi was previously called Tuticorin. Okay. So these are major ports. So how many is 6 on the west coast? 1, 2, Jawaharlal Nehru 3, 4 Marugao, 5 Mangalore, 6 Kochi, 7 here Chidambaram. Then you have Chennai. Okay. Chennai port. Then north of Chennai, 34 kilometers north of Chennai, there is a port here called in Ennore. Let's call it 8. Ennore Port, while the place is called Ennore, it has changed the name to Kamarajar Port. Kamarajar Port. Okay, Kamarajar Port. Then you have Visakhapatnam Port, 9. Okay, 10 is, I think we bungled somewhere. Oh, this is 7. I'm so sorry. I think my mistake. Anyway, let's call it, this is 7. Chennai is 8. 9 is Ennore. 10 is Visakhapatnam. 11 here is Paradeep. Paradeep is in Odisha. Okay, 11. And 12 is Kolkata Port or Shama Prasad Mukherjee Port. This is the Kolkata Port. This is a Kolkata Port. Okay, guys. So these are the major ports in India in the garment sector. The new Chief Minister of Odisha is Mohan Charan Majhi. Yeah. Naveen Patnaik was there, the CM between 2000 and 2024. Think of it. Isn't it a very long time? It is. Yeah. His father, Biju Patnaik, was also a CM for a long time. Okay. I guess there is hardly anything to discuss here. In its Global Economic Prospects report, the World Bank has retained its growth forecast for India at 6.6%. Like in the previous class, I mentioned why growth projections are all just guesstimates. These could change tomorrow. They may go up or go down, but these are all at best conjectures based on a lot of parameters, assumptions, like, this might be the oil price, this could be the oil price. If this is the band of oil price, what will the impact on, if it goes up, goes down, what will the impact on the Indian economy? They may look at political stability, economic stability, the fiscal deficit, which is all about borrowing. Yeah, plenty of parameters here. So we will not, focus on basically whether this is a good one or not. I mean, 6.6%. See, the RBI says it's likely to be around 7%, 7.2%. Even the IMF has said that. So these guys say 6.6. There is a band basically. Okay. But the World Bank chief economist, let's look at the name of the World Bank chief economist, Indermeet Gill. Indermeet Gill is the chief economist of the World Bank. Chief economist of the World Bank. And the chairperson is, of course, the president. The president of the World Bank is Ajay Pal Singh Banga. Ajay Banga, B-A-N-G-A. Okay. Since one point should be fine, we'll just skip there. Which country topped the World Economic Forum's Global Gender Gap Index report? This is how gender gap is calculated. I took it from the report itself. Okay, I went through the report and I found that there are 4 key dimensions. And what are the 4 dimensions? Economic parameter. Economic participation is 1. 2, educational attainment. 3, health and survival. 4th is political empowerment. Based on all these things, certain points weightages are given, and the state of women, the state of especially women basically is looked at through all these things, and then a certain weightage average is given, and then collation happens, data collation happens, and ranking is given. In that ranking, India ranks 129. This is India's rank, and of course, world number 1 is Iceland. In the order in which these are mentioned here, number 1 is Iceland, number 2 is Finland, number 3 is Norway, number 4 is New Zealand, number 5 is Sweden. The top 5 countries in the world. India's rank is 129, and global rank of 146, which is the last rank, is of Sudan. What is it? Sudan, which is a country in Africa. Pakistan 145. Okay, I don't trust all these indexes. Trust me. I see, as your teacher, I don't trust because I don't believe these are, they have access to a lot of data. There's a lot of prejudice. It also depends on who is making this list and all that. So there are too many agendas at play, but it gives you a fair idea of how things are. See, if you look at Iceland, it's attained about 94%, 93% gender gap report index weighted average, which means that even that kind of a society, Iceland, is still, does not have 100% gender equality. Okay. Globally, it would take 134 years, 134 years to bridge the gap, to bring about gender equality across these 4 parameters around the world. 134 years. You could read the report, you will find this number. So, the UN has designated 2025 as the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology. So, what about this year? This year, I'll use white here. This year is the year of camelids. Camelids are all kinds of camels. Okay. You have you have llama, you have there is this acapulco, some kind of an animal. I'm not very familiar with these names, though I actually once made a quiz question on that. You have llama, you have the double humpback, what we said, double humped, camel. In India, we have a single hump camel. In Central Asia, you have double hump camel, Bactrian camel it's called. So you have camelids there. That will be this year. 26th year is going to be the year of the woman farmer. The year of the woman farmer. The year of the woman farmer. Okay. And 25, again, another extra thing about 25, apart from that, it is going to be the International Year of Quantum Science and Technology. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be the year of cooperatives. Year of cooperatives. Year of cooperatives. Okay. Got it? I guess that pretty much covers, we'll just keep them out, right, for now. Okay. Let's clear this. Which country has withdrawn from the Collective Security Treaty Organization? Now, there is this treaty that was signed in 1992 between 6 countries. 5 are mentioned here. Then there is Russia. Okay. Plus Russia. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to bring you an idea, this CSTO is like the NATO. It has the same collective principle, collective defense principle, that if any of these 6 members is attacked, the other countries should come to the aid of that country. So, if it's all for one, one for all. But in the case, see, why has Armenia withdrawn? Because in its war against Azerbaijan, which it lost, nobody came to its rescue. Not Russia, not Kazakhstan, not Tajikistan, not Belarus, not Kyrgyzstan. I'll tell you where are these. Okay. This is, I don't know what color would be good on this. Shall we try yellow? Because it's green. This is Belarus. Okay, this is Belarus. This is Russia. It's a huge country. I don't know how visible it will be. We will just try this. There's no harm. You already know it's Russia. This is Kazakhstan. You see this here? This is Kazakhstan. Choice number. Okay, let's write 3. This is Kazakhstan. This here you find this country here. Okay, let me use red otherwise. You see, this is Tajikistan. Okay, sorry, Kyrgyzstan. This is, what's the number for Kyrgyzstan? 4. This is Kyrgyzstan and this is Tajikistan. In fact, Tajikistan is slightly just above India basically. Okay, Armenia. This is Armenia. This is Armenia. You see this here? This is Armenia. This is the Caspian Sea. This is Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia. You see this in light green? These are areas of, Russia or Ukraine occupied by Russia. That's why these are in light green. These are in light green. There's a reason behind this. Okay. So Armenia is withdrawing from this. The G7 outreach summit was hosted by Italy. You all know this, yeah? And G7 includes 7 countries. What are the 7 countries? Just to bring in those 7 countries, my friends, you take the geographical order from the west. You can take, 1, Canada, 2, United States, 3, cross Atlantic, you have the UK, 4, France. See, most of these countries have no power. Okay. 5, Italy. 6, Germany. 7, Japan. See, what power does, Italy has? Nothing. What power does France have? Nothing. UK. These are all used. Canada. Maybe the US matters. Maybe Japan matters. Maybe to an extent, Germany matters. The other 4 countries have no power. Globally, they have no power. Okay. But anyway, that's how the world is basically. And these are the countries that were invited as invite. Prime Minister Modi traveled to this place as, he was also invited. India was invited. So these are the countries that were invited. Okay. So you see this, let me use red here. India, Jordan, Turkey, UAE are Asian countries, basically. To promote the cooperation, the G7 with the G20, with the global South, developing countries and all, poor and developing countries, these guys were invited. Okay. Who has been reappointed the National Security Advisor to Prime Minister Narendra Modi? We all know Ajit Doval. This is the 3rd time. This is in contiguous, along with, since 2014, he has been the National Security Advisor to the Prime Minister of India. Pema Khandu has become the Chief Minister of, we mentioned this, Arunachal Pradesh, didn't we? Sikkim, we mentioned this in the previous question, one of the previous questions. Prem Singh Tamang. Meghalaya, we mentioned. Manipur, yeah, Biren Singh. Mizoram also we had mentioned, isn't it? Okay, let's, I think we'll keep it because it's map. Cyril Ramaphosa has been re-elected the president of South Africa. This is South Africa. You can see this. Yeah, it's a pretty large country. You can see this boundary. I'll cut it here. This is South Africa. It's pretty large country. Now, what you find here, something interesting is that this country here, Lesotho, it is surrounded by another country, by another country on all sides. A country that is surrounded by another country on all sides is called enclave. I'm so sorry. What is it? Enclave. A territory surrounded by another territory on all sides is enclave. This is Kenya Upar. I think it's, this is Mozambique. That's Tanzania. This is Tanzania. Okay. Austria is not here. That's Tanzania. Nigeria is also not here. But let me tell you, this is Swaziland. Let me bring in Swaziland. Okay. Our foreign minister visited this place recently. Okay. I have always been fascinated with this part of the world. That's it, nothing else. Okay. You see this Cape Town here. Now, what is a Cape? See, there is a land here. If the land juts into the sea, just a piece of land that projects into the sea, that is called Cape. That's called a Cape. This is called Cape. Nothing else. You can see it here in the map, basically. Okay. Look up a map in the when you have time. In fact, right after this class, you could actually do that. Okay. And he has been elected president of South Africa. Kenya, William Ruto. Not doing well. Kenya is not doing well. Chancellor of Austria is Karl Nehammer. It's white, so I'll use red. Okay. Nigeria, Bola Tinubu. And Tanzania, she was in India recently. Samia Suluhu. She met Prime Minister Modi and President, Srimati Draupadi Murmu. Okay, these are the guys, my friends. Which Indian company has been listed in the Cantor Brands 100 Most Valuable Global Brands for 2024? These 4, all of them have been ranked. And one more thing, I'll just focus on one thing, the global head. The global world number one, the global number one was Apple. Apple is the world's most valuable brand. Its CEO is Tim Cook. CEO is Tim Cook. Okay, that's it. Barely anything else to discuss. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for being here. Please make sure that every single day you learn something new. Stay curious. Thank you for being here.